to be employed. Your employer must get its books. The shooting game of the hook. We will be on the look. Now I'm at ease. My heart is at peace. Now I'm in school. Life is good. Concentration on my education. Free from all that humiliation. Walking towards my dream realization. A Kericho in a weather presentation. A Lukenya University production. A Produndo Island creation.
Thank you very much, Nyawira. We appreciate you. I want to take this opportunity because of the interest of time to invite Professor Patrick Lumumba to take the stage. Let's kindly celebrate. Let's celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You may resume your seats now. Let me start by welcoming and appreciating my very good friend, the Commander-in-Chief of EFF, Commander-in-Chief Julius Malema. We do not take it for granted that you have taken time to be present with us here in Lukenya. We thank you. Permit me also to recognize present in the assembly the governor of Makueni, Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr. Permit me also to recognize the Chancellor, the Pro-Chancellor, the Vice-Chancellor, and all senior academic staff and trustees of Lukenya University, not to forget the immediate past governor of Makueni, who was my teacher in first year, Professor Kivuda Kibwana. Because this is a Pan-African event, you will permit me to recognize Pan-Africanists who have taken time to be present with us this afternoon. I'll recognize them. They will rise and wave their hands, if only to demonstrate to those who are here and those who are watching online that this is Africa present in Makueni. Permit me to start as I do with my good friend and brother, His Excellency, the Ambassador of Antigua and Barbuda himself from Trinidad and Tobago, Ambassador Wallace Williams. Permit me to recognize Yinka Abioe of Festac from Nigeria, accompanied by Grace, who is heading the Festac Festival of African Art, and he's Kenyan herself. Alawi Kashim from the United Republic of Tanzania. Next to him is Chivala from the United Republic of Tanzania. Permit me also to introduce the Gabriel Selassie girls. Let's Eden and your sister rise all the way from Ethiopia, to recognize Zakayo all the way from Hargeisa in Somaliland, to recognize Calvin Kaunda, who is from Lusaka in Zambia, to recognize my very good friend Nurdin Kajuma from Bukoba in the United Republic of Tanzania, to recognize Edwina Taylor, sometimes from Ivory Coast, sometimes from Sierra Leone, sometimes from Liberia, accompanied by her sister Yande Taylor, Gambia, Dubai, and to recognize my sister from Uganda, Nancy Linda Karembe. And to recognize from Nigeria and the United Kingdom, Dr. Kofo Obasanjo Blackshaw. To also recognize my very good friend, Carol Banks from Kenya, as I also do recognize Pauline Kea Chovi from Kenya, and Nelson Sechere, who also hails from Kenya, and the young men and women who belong to Free Kenya Movement, Bob Njagi, Nicholas Soyo, Mwali Okumu, and Felix Wambua. All these are young Pan-Africanists who hold the view that in order to grow Africa, we must grow her from a totally different perspective, village by village. And they are here present. My friend Ouma is present in the assembly. And if I do not mention you by name, do recognize that you are appreciated this afternoon. Today is my good friend JULIUS Malema's day. And it would be inappropriate for anybody to deliver a speech of any kind. But what I will do, if only to contextualize this gathering, is to invite to the podium for no more than 4 minutes, because this is an institute, individuals who have started this particular journey by penning books, some of which will be left for this institute. Permit me, therefore, to invite the three of you to come forth, and you'll speak for 1 minute. Pauline Kea Chovi, who is the writer of Kigogo, which has been a set book for Kenya for the last many years. So you can see Kigogo is known. All these students have read Kigogo. And it is important to note that I have now translated Kigogo into English as the leader. And as I see my friend Ibrahim Sanka is also here, as I also now see Catherine Waweru. And I also invite Kofo Obasanjo.
Test.
And just for 1 minute, to allow them to speak to their books. Kofo Obasanjo, Dr. Kofo Obasanjo is all the way from Nigeria, and his own father is a great Pan-Africanist, Olusegun Obasanjo. Where is Carol Banks? Just for 1 minute, before we go into the crux of the matter, say something about your book. Pauline Kea. You.
All protocol observed. I will take very little time. I think most, if not all of the students seated here have read Kigogo. Thank you. Kigogo was then translated by Professor PLO Lumumba to the leader, the English version. I hope that you will read the leader too. So I will just talk a little bit about the leader or the Kigogo. I wish I could speak in Kiswahili because it's in Kiswahili, but for the sake of our visitors who are not conversant with Kiswahili, but we are making Kiswahili a lingua franca for Africa, and so very soon we will not have excuses to use English in such forums. So, Kigogo, or the leader, is about leadership, and leadership for the young people. The majority of you know what I am talking about. I will pick on a character. The young people here know a character called Sudi in the play. Sudi says, did you like Sudi? Did you like tuna? Majoka. So Majoka is this evil leader. And so Sudi at some point, he's just completed his university course and is actually looking for a job, and there are no jobs. So he uses his talent to survive, just like most African young people are doing. You use your talent, which is very right. Use your talent. It is okay. Use your talent to do whatever that can make you survive. It is okay. So Sudi sits, and there's one of the young people who is not really awake. I mean, they're just asleep in some dreamland. So Sudi says, I am going to sculpture the history of this country. And then the other one says, in fact, he says, I'm going to write. The other one says, you cannot write the history of this country. You are not a writer. Then he says, if I am not a writer, I am a sculptor. I am going to sculpture the history of this country because it was not written well. So today, I tell you young people, if you are a doctor, you need to do your medical things afresh. If you are a historian, write the history of Africa afresh. If you are doing business, do business in the right way, the African way. Do business afresh. If you are a farmer, remember our seeds. Plant African seeds. Do agriculture the right way. Do not write agriculture afresh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let me now, for 1 minute, invite Carol Banks, who has written about ethical leadership. 1 minute. When you see me stand, it means you stop.
All right, Prof. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am privileged and all protocol observed. Private sector people, we mess up a lot of times when it comes to protocol. But I'm very excited to see Mr. Hedda. He may not remember me, but I was a young nurse at the Nairobi hospital where he used to be a surgeon. And I'm very happy to see him because healthcare practitioners rarely get to speak in forums. And being a trained nurse, I took a journey of courage, and I became a managing director of a Fortune 500 company. And everywhere I've been to, everybody asks me to tell my story. Top 40 Under 40 2019, please, will you tell your story more to show young people that it can be done? And what a beautiful thing you did today, Prof, to have young people in a hall like this where I can actually have the courage to tell them that it can be done. But I wondered if I write my story of how I became a managing director of a Fortune 500 as a Kenyan young woman, how many people will be able to relate with that story? Maybe a few, maybe not too many. But if I coin it in a book that really addresses some of the issues that we are dealing with as Africans in Africa, and showing it that it can be done in the straight and narrow, like the teacher was just saying. I've read Kigogo, so I understand what she was saying. And Kigogo is basically leading ethically. And so I combined my story of where I come from, how I was brought up, the challenges I faced, my nursing career, the people that held my hand, because you should never really forget where you come from. Sorry. What did I say? Where I come from. And so, ladies and gentlemen, ethical leadership, creating a culture of trust and responsibility.
Thank you very much, Carol. And I don't want them to reveal too much about the book. You'll not buy it. So the whole idea is that you buy the book. Thank you very much. Let me now invite Domtila Mwanzia, who has written a book, Challenges Faced by Women Head Teachers.
Thank you, Prof. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. My name is Dr. Domtila Mwanzia. I belong to I'm a lecturer at Lukenya University in the School of Education and Social Sciences. I'm the chairperson, Department of Education. I was motivated to write my book, Challenges Faced by Women and Teachers in Public Primary School, because as a younger teacher, I was elevated to the office of David end teacher in the primary school. And after a few days, the end teacher retired. I was to hold the two offices for almost a year because those times, 1992, we were not being replaced very fast. I went through many challenges. My governor, I hailed from Galawa, and that time politics was hot and they were against women leadership. But I thank God I stood firm. I climbed the ladder to end headship, where I faced more challenges when I started my education as a diploma in SNE, Bachelor of Education in Special Needs Education, and also I went for Masters in Education Administration. Then most of the people say, then she does suit to be in the primary section. Let her move where she belongs, because she seems to be more educated for our younger children. So with all those challenges I face and other ladies, then I was moved to write this book. You can read it more when you purchase a copy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now permit me, before I call the speaker in a short while, to allow two people, 1 minute each, Yinka Abioye, for one reason. In 1966 in Dakar in Senegal, there was the Festival of Arts under the auspices of Leopold Sedar Senghor. 40 years later in Nigeria, there was Festac in Lagos, Nigeria, under the patronage of President Olusegun Obasanjo. Next year, there will be Festac in Kisumu from the 20th to the 25th day of May 2022. He is the man who has revived Festac after a hiatus of nearly 40 years, in Zanzibar in 2022 and in Arusha in Tanzania in 2023. For 30 seconds only, say your piece.
30 seconds? Everybody, it's a pleasure to be here. I can't talk for 30 seconds. This is a punishment. What I'm going to tell you is this. Like Prof said, to all of you to celebrate who we are as people. Viva Africa.
You made it. Thank you. Very lastly, let me allow Dr. Kofo Obasanjo Blackshear to speak to a book which I commend to all of you. Dr. Kofo.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to try to stick to the 1 minute, and I'm going to hope I beat Prof coming to send me to my seat. So very briefly, I'm not going to introduce myself. You've heard my name. I'm in a race against time here. This book was forged in the crucible of the COVID pandemic under the supervision of my father, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, former head of state of Nigeria. And the principle behind this book, Pillars of Statecraft, is essentially what are the ingredients required to build a strong nation state. As Pan-Africanists, what we need is that each individual African nation is as strong as it can be, and that together as a force and a block, we can write our own story. Madam Founder said to us to bring Africa out to the world. This book is about forging African nations so that they're strong and that as Africans we can thrive and then launch out into the world. Unleash our youth. We are the only continent that is growing. We need to unleash our youth who are healthy, who are educated, who are equipped as a force out there to take the world back and to take Africa and really launch it into a space where we have partnerships on our own terms. We're no longer a continent that has things done to it. We're now a continent that has partnerships and effective relationships where we own our narrative and we don't have our stories told for us by other people. And I think I made it.
Thank you. The other person who has written a book in absentia is Professor Suki Mwendwa, a book called Sing Your Song. It is a book that I also commend to you. May I now humbly request you to resume your seats. And having done so, may I now have the podium to be brought. Typically, when one is invited to speak, long introductions are made. I normally interrupt those introductions because the very fact that we have invited Commander-in-Chief Julius Malema here in itself is a testament to the fact that we have searched throughout the world and we have arrived at the conclusion that he is the one who is fit to be here. So his very presence in this assembly is a testament to the fact that he is a Pan-Africanist. It is not mine to talk about him. But when we talk about Pan-Africanism today, we are talking about Pan-Africanism in the context of those who preceded us. We are talking about Pan-Africanism reminding ourselves of Sylvester Williams of Trinidad and Tobago, who convened the first Pan-African meeting. We are reminding ourselves of Marcus Garvey. We are reminding ourselves of Pixley Isaka Seme of South Africa. We are reminding ourselves of W.B. Du Bois. We are reminding ourselves of John Henry Clark. We are reminding ourselves of Malcolm X, of Martin Luther King Jr., of Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe. We are reminding ourselves of Bantu Stephen Biko. We are reminding ourselves of Julius Kambarage Nyerere. We are reminding ourselves of Amilcar Cabral Abeljasi. We are reminding ourselves of Ahmed Ben Bella, of Ahmed Sekou Toure, of Samora Moises Machel, of Agostino Neto, and all those great men, Winnie Madikizela Mandela. We are reminding ourselves. And therefore, when we come here on this occasion of the Pan-African Institute, we are reminding ourselves that we have philosophized for too long, moralized for too long, agonized for too long, complained for too long, criticized for too long, critiqued for too long, blamed others for too long. We have allowed ourselves to be defined for too long, and that the time is now to define ourselves. The time is now to organize beyond agonization. And that is why it gladdens my heart as I will, in the next 30 minutes, invite Commander-in-Chief Sello Malema to also invite to the stage individuals who will welcome him as he delivers his speech, because it is these individuals whom we start with, and through cross-fertilization of ideas, they are germinated the Pan-African Institute. Tony Nyanja. Joanne Mwangi Yelbert. Sylvia Kasanga. If indeed they say there is a thorn among the roses, I am but that thorn. Behold the roses. That said, Juju, these are your people. Amandla, Maibuye, Maibuye. You don't know how to respond. When I say Amandla, you say Awet. When I say Maibuye, you say E Africa. And when I say E Africa, you say Maibuye. Amandla, Amandla, Maibuye, E Africa. Juju, speak to your people.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Let me take this opportunity to send revolutionary greetings to the esteemed professor, a friend of mine and a brother, PLO Lumumba, Let me also greet our mother, the founder of this important university, Mama Martha Kasanga Mulwa, and greet your husband wherever he is, that he left us a lasting legacy that we stand to celebrate here today. The leadership and academic staff, our Vice Chancellor, the Chancellor is here, and all the staff members who are here today to celebrate with us. And we also want to send our revolutionary greetings to the leadership of our province, what we call Let me also send my greetings to the Lukenya University students and members of the community, members of the media and fellow Africans. Today it feels good to be African. Right here in Kenya, a place we call our home, because all of Africa is our home. No one can ever say to me, welcome to Kenya or Nairobi, as if I'm a visitor. I regard no part of Africa as belongs to me, and I belong to Africa. It is a honor of the prestigious institute which is targeted at intellectual collaboration and unity of the continent. Let us therefore begin by congratulating you on this initiative, which is long overdue in light of the importance of the continent reclaiming its intellectual and academic identity within the global community in general. We know that ideas are at the core of the African capacity to chart its own destiny within the community of the world. Intellectual sovereignty has to be forged through research and development that is steeped in African experiences, African the economics of the African academy, of our resources. Lack of dedicated funding, many thinkers in the continent are taken to the general driven by Euro-American institutions. As you have seen over the decades, there is no way Euro-American is going to fund an intellectual project that will see Africa truly become intellectually sovereign. A truly sovereign Africa is a threat to the imperialist establishment that continue to determine the agenda and control of our resources. It is also inspiring to see that our esteemed Prof. Lumumba and those who are joining him in this initiative have chosen our continent and Kenya to establish an intellectual research and knowledge institution. Accordingly, both based here and international, jealousy fund this institute and ensure that it creates a unique Africa based on an original thought, because we have a duty to chart our own intellectual path. We are also inspired by the fact that the institute concept of Pan-Africanism includes all people of African descent. That is, those in the continent, the Americas, Caribbean islands, Europe, and Asia. This is because wherever they are found, people who look like you and me continue to be treated as an inferior. When you see an African person everywhere else in the continent, is to African people. Wherever they are being enslaved, being tortured, harassed,
one shows them love. But you, as an African who claim to be a Pan-Africanism, you have a responsibility to show fellow Africans love and care. A violent, genocidal, and catastrophic transatlantic slave trade and colonialism are the historical twin towers that plug the humanity of Africans into the dark night, which to this day seems to have no end in sight. The image of the African as a black and subhuman was forced, massive and violent enslavement of millions of African people sold in the Americas as properties of white colonists. Mainland villages of West Africa, through the gun, the dogs, and the spears, African communities were plundered, captured with their will, and chained like animals. At the ports of Ghana, those chained, naked, and malnourished bodies of men, women, and children were scaled, measured, and sold for gold, silver, or livestock. They were put in those gigantic ships that crossed thousands of kilometers of the massive body of violent and cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Millions will not survive the dangerous voyages on sea. They will die of disease, starvation, or pure mental illness. Many will be offloaded alive, thrown into the deep waters to ease the It is on those cold Atlantic waters, deep in the bottom of the ocean, that many carcasses of their bones lay rotten in chains and swallowed by the sea. Those who survived and on arrival in the Americas were forced to work in the different plantations of white men. From the voyage ships to the plantation, the image of an inferior African was being constructed through brutal force. Then began the violent colonial conquest for settlement, aimed at our natural resources that defined our native beauty. The white men sought to rule Africa and here designed a system of racial segregation, racial abuse that lasted for many centuries. The colony and the where the perfect technologies of recreating the African subservient being whose only survival must always be through wide tutelage, supervision, and approval. The transatlantic slave trade, colonial conquest, and colonial rule are responsible for the zombification of the African soul and its intellectual damnification and the psychotic condition where Africa and its people cannot handle their affairs without white supervision. As both an intellectual project and a program of revolutionary change, Pan-Africanism is first the recognition of this terrible history, which by multiple nations remains a world history that has cast the African into a global identity. Pan-Africanism is never forgotten noise of the painful cries of those captured slaves whose black bodies were swallowed by the Atlantic Ocean from the slave ships. It is the agonizing cry from the brutal violence suffered by the black slaves in the sugar, cotton, and corn plantations from Georgia to Sao Paulo. Pan-Africanism is also the resounding victory from the theater of the Haitian Revolution from 1781 to 1804, led by the greatest descendant of our continent, Toussaint Louverture. Together with his patrons, they bravely led the president of the successful slave revolution in human history, defeating a combined European force Napoleon Bonaparte. It is the bravery of those African former slaves who will define citizenship on a racial condemnation of blackness, declaring that Haiti belongs to black people regardless of the color of their skin. Pan-Africanism is also the anger emanating from the countless defeats suffered by the Padros, the brave soldiers like those of Mau Mau and Bambata rebellion, defeated at the hands of the brutal British colonial forces. It is the intellectual heritage of Marcus Garvey, W.E. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, Harriet Tubman, Pixley Isaac Assel, Shalom Mateke, Winnie Mandela, Kwame Nkrumah, Seiko Toure, Julius Malema, Haile Selassie, Thomas Sankara, and today our own Prof. Lumumba, together with us, must carry the mantle of the African Pan-Africanist cause. Pan-Africanism is a set of ideas written in chains, with blood, spear, and the unforgiving guns of the sons and daughters from the Algerian Revolution to the Battle of Kutupalabal. It is the one-party state of Africa as a whole, as professed by Marcus Garvey. It is Ami Caesarius' negritude, Kwame Nkrumah's African socialism, Steve Biko's black consciousness, Julius Nyerere Ujamaa. It is also Mbeki's African Renaissance, all based on forging a unity of African people who are formed by the same history and must seek after common destiny. It is the achievement from the pyramid of Egypt to the cities of Maputo. It is the industrial invasion by Gareth Morgan, traffic lights, Frederick Jones, refrigerated trucks, and Alexander Mars, automatic elevator doors. It is the cultural movement in jazz, R&B, reggae, funk, blues, kwaito, juju Nigeria, Chimorenga Zimbabwe, Makosa Cameroon, and Benga Kenya. It is the novel Things Fall Apart, The Devil on the Cross, Maru, The Trails of Brother Jeru, Songs of Solomon, and Notes of Native Son. It is the artwork of Gerald Sekoto, Chike Anyako, Ote Okeke, and Monia Lewis, the religious movement of Bishop Lukenya, Coptics of Egypt, and the Ethiopian Orthodox Christians, as well as Islamic denominations from Tunisia, Nigeria, Kenya, all deserve a place in the rich thinking and knowledge about Africa and its people. It is true that Pan-African call has also been prophetic, carrying important portions that those who conducted the project for the rebirth of the African continent in the post-colonial context have not heeded. In the pages of Frantz Fanon, Richard of the Air, there is a critique which, since independent in the 1950s to this day, leaders of African people have failed to give programmatic response to this call. The Pan-African call is a call for African unity, not cooperation, collaboration, or confuse the unity of Africa to be collaboration or cooperation. We don't want to cooperate, we don't want to collaborate, we want to be one, and being one means we must share the same vision and the same direction. Yet many over the past half a century have chosen cooperation which has given way to neo-colonialism. That is to say, for African leaders to continue colonialism without direct rule by colonialists. The launch of the Pan-African Institute right here in Kenya must help us intellectually to shift towards revolutionary Pan-Africanism, contribute to resolving some of the historical mistakes, blunders committed by post-liberation. We should state here that while the formation of the Organization of African Unity was a step in the right direction, the fact that the founding conference failed to unite the African continent is a historical blunder. President Kwame Nkrumah, Sekou Toure, and Emperor Haile Selassie the failure to unite the African continent will give rise to the neo-colonialism and that African continent will perish. The revolutionary Pan-Africanist ideological and political diagnosis of the future was correct. The future is here. 50 years later, we know that we remain visitors in our own continent. We know that our resources benefit Euro-American than our own people. This is despite most African countries gaining independence from colonial rule since 1957. Massive huge strikes of our mineral resources, our animals, are still owned by the colonial masters. There are no countries in the entire African continent that have gained full economic emancipation, and this includes Ghana, which was the first to lead the road till to date. It can't claim that Africans in Ghana own the means of production. In 2016 report titled The New Colonialism reveals that there are 101 British companies listed on the London Stock Exchange that control an identified $1.5 trillion worth of resources in Africa in just 5 commodities: oil, gold, diamond, coal, and platinum. This is a very conservative figure since it includes resources listed by only some companies. Many companies do not figures of the resources they control. And the majority of these companies that do not tell us what they control and what they own in Africa are found in DRC, because they are the ones who fuel the divisions in DRC. They are the ones who fuel the fight in DRC, and they are stealing the resources of DRC because they know there is no proper accountability for such resources. The War on Want report on neo-colonialism further illustrates that the fact that these 101 companies control and own the following key resources on our continent: 6.6 billion barrels of oil, currently worth $276 million. They control 79.5 ounces of gold, worth $119 billion. They control 699 carats of diamonds, worth $134 billion. 3.6 billion tons of coal, $216 billion. 287 million ounces of platinum, worth $305 billion. These are the numbers that reflect British neo-colonialism in the African continent. I've not spoken about what French companies are doing. The Portuguese continue to play a significant role in the economy of Mozambique and Angola. The French continue to micromanage all the countries that were their colonies, except the recent liberated zones of Mali and Burkina Faso. Comrades, the French are brutal. To a point that post-colonialism is certain African countries pay colonial tax to France. The French are brutal because some of their former colonies, their reserve banks are still in France. They are not in control of their own economy, yet they claim to have an independence. We, as progressive Pan-Africanists, must fully associate with and support all revolutionary actions of fighters who are removing puppets of French imperialism from political office and power. Not all these actions are revolutionary, because we must be careful of French-sponsored coups in Africa, where we think there is a revolution taking place in Guinea-Conakry, only to find that there is a French puppet who seek to replace those who were there before. We ought to separate that there can never be a revolutionary coup that reinforces French imperialism on Africa. anyone who comes into political office under the pretense that they are fighting a French puppet, while knowing they are the French puppet themselves, must be isolated by progressive Pan-Africanists. All French soldiers and military must leave the African continent, and this also should apply to neo-colonial military bases, including the African Command Center of the USA. We don't want the army of America, we don't want the army of France here, we don't want the army of anyone. We want African army on African soil. Provide ideological, political, and technological weapons to all progressive forces of the African continent to fight against colonialism. It's a political trend that is being accepted by African heads of state and government, where one country convenes all 54 heads of African states and government. The United States of America, France, China, Russia, and United Kingdom convene all 54 heads of states and government for a meeting, and they all go following each other like Casey and Jojo as heads of states to listen to one head of state, 51 of them. Sometimes they disrespect them to a point where they put all 54 heads of states of Africa in a school bus to go and listen to one head of state. What happened to this man? Because all of them, majority of them are men. What happened to these fathers who go and bow to one man? Even if he's Putin, why would they all follow each other and go and listen to one person? What happened to their dignity and their authority as leadership? They must have leadership qualities to know that Putin is equal to them, that China is equal to their own single country, irrespective of their size, because what matters is sovereignty. And if China recognizes that sovereignty, will respect the president of that sovereign country as an individual. Kwame Nkrumah noticed this when he said that neo-colonialism also means the breaking up from a large colonial territories into a number of small and viable states capable of development. An external directed economic policy, the state being obligated to take the manufactured products of the imperialist power to the exclusion of competing products from elsewhere. Payments towards the cost of running the state to ensure control over government policies, and foreign capital is used for the exploitation rather than the development of less developed regions. Governor, on my way here, we saw how the people here are working the land. We saw that there is no piece of land here that is not being utilized to the benefit of our people. But the question remains, where do these people sell? Because they can't consume all. Yes, they must produce to feed themselves, and feed the whole Kenya, and feed the continent and the world. Is the government buying food that is produced right from this soil, or do we have companies that are owned by white people in Nairobi who bring finished products into the land that has got products that can be bought directly from our own people? We say people must work the land. After they work the land, their own governments in Africa do not procure from those people. Because if it does not have a white color, they don't like it. Our leaders like their colonizers more than us. That's why they always seek after anything that looks like colonizers. 10 years ago, we as revolutionary activists and missionaries from south of African continent started a revolutionary freedom fighters. When we formed the EFF in South Africa, we told them that our organization is not for South Africa. our organization is for all Africans. And we said this. We said this during xenophobic attacks of our people in South Africa, where people were being attacked because they come from outside South Africa. We chose to side with our people because we're necessitated by the fact that we love ourselves. And if you love yourself, you'll see a person from Tanzania in you. You'll see a person from Nigeria in you because we are one people. We as the economic emancipation movement did not only say we said South Africa must engage in massive investment of economic development in Africa. We keep on saying people are coming to South Africa, are looking for jobs, are going to take jobs from us. We can stop this thing of people coming to South Africa. How do you do it? Go and build massive economic development in African countries so that people can stay where they are and they can feed themselves from where they are. No one wants to leave his own home into some strange place. We leave our homes because we are searching for greener pastures. If there is an ESCOM in South Africa which is failing to give us electricity, but when it was well and still running according to how we wanted it, ESCOM has the capacity to electrify the whole of Africa. Why are you not going into the African continent and electrify the whole of Africa? Why is there no plane that moves from Cape to Cairo, making sure that trade in Africa and movement of goods and essence is easy? Because if we do that, there's no one who can leave Lusaka to go and stay in South Africa. They can get into a train, go and do what they want to do in South Africa, and come back home and develop their own countries. We must make sure that this Africa is linked together. We must violently demolish the borders that exist between our countries, because those are not our borders. You cannot establish a border between Tanzania and Kenya and come and sit in this hall and say you're a Pan-Africanist. A Pan-Africanist means the first task is to get rid of colonial borders so that we bring Africa together in practical terms. I don't know if President William Ruto means it, because he said so many things, and I can't locate him these days, because the things he said during election and the things he's doing now are two different things. I don't know. Because I heard him saying we need to do away with the dollar and build our own currency. But his actions are not speaking to anything of doing away with the dollar. The latest being putting a red carpet for America. Kenyan people coming into this country, receiving a red carpet and being saluted by our own army. This is not the Kenyan army, is not a colonialist army. The Kenyan army is a product of the Mau Mau rebellion. And those who killed our people in the Mau Mau rebellion cannot be saluted by the same army of the children of those who were killed during Mau Mau rebellion. We have a duty to stay true to the cause. We have a duty to remind the king and Britain of what they did to us. Indeed, he shows no remorse. He says this was fair, he shouldn't have happened. But he runs short of, I apologize. I am sorry. He never say he's sorry, because he thinks that his race makes him superior and is not qualified to apologize to those who are junior to him. We call upon the Kenyan government to be fair and to decide what they want to do. Do they want to be Pan-Africanist or do they want to be proponents of neo-colonialism? You can't have it both. Only one call must be made, and that call is of Pan-Africanism. It's not easy being a Pan-Africanist, for because the mindset of our people is so colonized, they are going to isolate you. They are going to look at you as if you are a bad person. They are going to look at you as if you are unreasonable. But it is a cause because of the generation that came before us. We want one currency because our currency is more powerful than the pound and the dollar combined. Because London has got the biggest storage of gold, yet they don't have a single smallest mine of gold. Their economy is based on our minerals, and if we say sources can do so uninterrupted as we fight ourselves amongst ourselves. So we need a militant, a common defense system, the African High Command that will ensure the stability and security of Africa. We equally need a biting African court to deal with dictators who only exist in Africa to feed their friends and families. Those people must be prosecuted the African way, because ISIS is not meant to fight any crime, it is meant to be ISIS will not declare a was not bombed a refugee camp, was not declared exist in Africa to feed their friends, and we as revolutionary girls emancipation must be also associated with the African way. President Sekou said in 1993, he said, above all, we must avoid the pettiness of the ISIS will not declare there is tribalism taking place against the dictator. All our leaders have taken a plan was not support be against this one or that. They've spoken about Palestine. They've spoken but I'm still talking the stand of President William Ruto about the ongoing war is not covered by anyone in terms where people are fighting over territorial expansion and plunder of resources, and blacks are killing other black people, and we pretend that we don't see. It's important as leaders of states and governments to always condemn violence and war, especially if it's barbaric and informed by tribalism and unjustifiable territorial expansions. Before you can speak about other countries, let there be peace in DRC. Without peace in DRC, Kenya will never go peace, because these rascals are going to learn from those wars in DRC and want to import them into Kenya. You have a duty to stop them there before they come into Kenya. Comrades, we will make sure the struggle of all immigrants, most of whom are economic migrants and asylum seekers in South Africa. We will never. In South Africa, they say to us, if you want to be elected, you must declare war on illegal immigrants. And illegal immigrants, they mean Africans. We have refused as the EFF that we will never declare war only going too slow. Because if you are illegal, you should have violated a certain law. Which African law did these people violate when they came to this side of Africa? Because they are still in the same territory of Africa. They are at home when they are in South Africa. We wish to tell them we're going to elections next year in South Africa. We wish to reiterate that, and we tell them all the time, if they want to elect us on the basis of xenophobia, they can keep their votes. We are not disparate for votes. We are disparate for the unity of Africa, and that's what we want to achieve in our lifetime. Remove the visas as an immediate step, and I heard Kenya is going to do that by December. Perhaps I must come back here in December and announce. So to test if indeed President means exactly what he said when he said there won't be visas in December. Maybe I must sneak in and test without applying for any visa and just give them the South African passport and say I'm coming home. Mama, we want to commit in front of you and all the dignitaries who are here and the students that this Pan-African Institute will be supported by the EFF. We will ensure that indeed it has got a home in South Africa. We will not only support it verbally, we will put money into it, we will pay the staff members of this institute, we will also pay the offices of the institute, because we believe that we must be one language as Africa. We will donate the books here at the university to ensure that every African has got his or her book in the Pan-Africanist Institute. Let's all spread the gospel. Indeed, it was not a mistake to launch it here in the rural areas, because no one must be left behind. If you can carry on your back the rural communities, you have no any other option to go anywhere except to go to the urban. But if you start from rural, there's no way you can cover the urban. But if you start from the urban, you are going to be reluctant to come to the rural. We are starting here to liberate our people in the rural areas, and we go into the urban to ensure that everyone. Tell President Ruto that the people of Palestine are what Mau Mau was. Tell President Ruto that the people of South Africa are what Palestinian people are today. Where our land get encroached, where our land just get taken, and we get killed on our own land, we get tortured on our own land, we get imprisoned on our own land. When we fight, they say we are terrorists. This Nelson Mandela you celebrate, for 27 years, he was in prison because he was a terrorist. What crime did he commit, which the Palestinians are not committing? His crime was to fight for the liberation of the people of South Africa and the oppressed world all over, including the people of Palestine. It can't be that President Ruto, knowing the history of this country and the history of South Africa, comes and tells us that it's with Israelites. Our war is not on Jewish people. Our war is not on pregnant women, Jewish pregnant women. Our war is not on Jewish children. Our war is against the Zionist apartheid state of Israel, and that's what we are fighting. So, if he got money from some Jewish person, we are not fighting that funder of his. We are fighting the state of Israel. We are not fighting individuals. We are fighting the state of Israel. At the age of 9 years, the boys walked into my house and turned everything upside down. Stripped my mother. When I see what those children of Palestine are going through, I can immediately relate that this is what apartheid looks like. We cannot be Pan-Africanist if we can't associate with the oppressed nation. Our Pan-Africanism is based on the basis that we are an oppressed nation ourselves. And everywhere else where we see an oppressed person, that person is our sister, that person is our mother, that person is our father, because we are not free until the whole world is free from imperialism and colonialism. I don't know if you'll regret inviting me after this. But my problem is that I tell my truth as is. And I say it to authorities without fear of fame. Till today, no one has ever sued me legally successfully. Till today, no one has imprisoned me, because you can't imprison or sue the truth. The truth will always prevail. Comrades, we must make sure that as we live here, our sympathy is with the oppressed people. Look at Cuba. Its crime was to choose a different economic system to what America has chosen. And then they are under more than 60 years of economic embargo. What crime did the people of Western Sahara commit against Morocco? We are at the center of speaking the truth as a Pan-Africanist institute, because we've got the ears of the continent and the diaspora and the whole world. And this organization we're launching today, Prof, will live forever and ever. Because you only speak the truth yourself to power. And you always make us politicians to want to check if indeed we are still on the right track. So an institution established by a person like you, we are guaranteed that it will live for long and it will live for generations to come. That's why we are proud to be here. I was not brought by a plane here. I was not brought by a car. I was driven by the spirits of those people who were dumped in the oceans. And when they were dumped in the ocean, their cries are still crying loud till today. They did not dump them in the ocean. They dumped them on their hands and their feet, and they could not fight. Then when the sharks were eating them in those oceans, they could not fight. Even if you know that today I'm going to die, but it is always good to die fighting. That you must hold the shark, even when you know it's going to swallow me. I must die fighting. Those people who died in the ocean said to me, you ought to arrive there. For because what you guys are going to start there is that which is going to seek reparations for us. As you leave this place and go back to our home, remember the people died in plantation, beaten, treated like dogs. Remember those slaves that asked for help and they never found help. But you must say to them in spirit, the help is and that help we declare today that will fight the battles of the heroes and heroines of Mau Mau, of Bambata Rebellion, of the slaves. This Pan-Africanist Institute must be at the center of demanding reparations for all the suffering Africans have gone through because of colonialism. We must teach our people that we are not beggars. When we ask for reparation, we are not asking for donation. We are asking for what was stolen from us to be returned so that we can prosper and and become a better nation. Thank you very much.
We have a small session remaining. Let's settle. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's settle down. We want to get to a small session. Chief guests, Julius Malema, we want to unveil the Pan-African Institute. That's a small assignment that you have before we get to a cake ceremony where we'll be led by Ines. How are you? The cake is already with us. So I want to invite you. The Board of Trustees from the University kindly come. The Chancellor and even the Chair of the Council kindly join the Chief Guest in unveiling the Pan-African Institute.
Yeah, thank you very much. We now are at the stage when we formally invite the Commander-in-Chief, the Honorable Julius Malema, to declare the Pan-African Institute formally open.
Thank you very much once more, Prof. PLO Lumumba, and all our guests who are here. Let me take this opportunity, Prof, to invite you to be on the other side and to officially reveal and launch the Pan-African Institute.
How are you?
Thank you. Thank you.
Ogamoja. Yezo ndiyo.
Fenozokuzana bebase.
Musajja ombuga njabula. Zenyi mazirwa. Ndinko setiro. Yesera zenyi mazirwa. Bugu njobe bakachiro.
Akusasule. Sia.
Zenyi mazirwa.
Sia.
After the Board of Trustees, then the loser. The loser also.
Fenozokuzana bebase. Akusasule. Sia. Sia. Fenozokuzana bebase. Akusasule. Sia. Sia.
Ogamoja. Yezo ndiyo.
Fenozokuzana bebase.
Zenyi mazirwa. Musajja ombuga njabula. Zenyi mazirwa. Ndinko setiro. Yesera zenyi mazirwa. Bugu njobe bakachiro.
Akusasule. Sia.
Zenyi mazirwa.
Sia. Fenozokuzana bebase.
Musajja ombuga njabula.
Akusasule. Sia. Sia.
Could you kindly resume your seat in 2 minutes? We want to conclude in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, we are concluding in a formal, proper way. In 2 minutes. In 2 minutes. And the order of events now is that we shall cut the cake in 1 minute. Then we move the vote of thanks in 30 seconds and we sing the anthem. Could you kindly, can we now sit in 2 minutes? We want to conclude in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes. Just 1 minute, we cut the cake symbolically. Is wisdom of the elders. Can somebody immortalize this occasion? Thank you very much. Thank you I want to take this opportunity to appreciate everybody, and more important, the chief guests, Julius Malema, for having taken time to join us for this important occasion, and for you, Professor Lumumba, for choosing Lukenya University to be a place where the institute was to be housed. We thank you so much. I also want to thank all the friends that you came with from South Africa, and also our friends from other countries. For having created time to join us. We want to send greetings to you, to your wife. And also your regards to them, tell them that we are united and we are in Africa. And we remain be there to support the ideology. I want to also appreciate the governor of Makueni for creating time to join us. This is your university. So every other time we have a function around, kindly feel free to just pop in and come celebrate with us. Like tomorrow we have a very big ceremony of the university, the graduation ceremony. And we want to invite you, and I think we got some invitation. And also we have Senator Manzo here with us. I think you joined us later. We have done all the introductions. And even all the you have been with us from the beginning of this university. I remember you launching the start of the assembly for having created time. Bwana Wanjigi, we appreciate you for creating time, and all our friends of Lukenya University. The founder of Lukenya University, Mama Mother Mulwa, we want to appreciate you so much for creating time, the BOT, the council, and more importantly also the chair of the BOT, Honorable Senator Sylvia Gasanga Mulwa, for connecting us with Professor Lumumba and also the chief guests. Thank you very much for that. And also the faculty, and also all the student leaders and our students for having made this occasion a very big success. All universities represented here feel appreciated. We have Mount Kenya University, we have United States International University, we have also Pwane University,
Thank you very much. Professor Ratemo Michieka, we can't go without recognizing your presence. Thank you very much. All media fraternity, K24, Daily Nation is there, and also South African Broadcasting Corporation. I'm told they are here. Thank you very much for joining us for this important occasion. And all the organization, we have BFC, Kwacha, RMS, BNL, Free Kenya, Unitech, NRF, KEPSA, kindly feel appreciated. And every other person that has taken time to come and join us for this occasion, feel appreciated. And as Lukenya fraternity, we want to welcome you once again to Lukenya. And our chief guest, Julius Malema, we feel excited to host you here. And to our students, I know they are also equally excited. And to learn that at the age of 9 years, you had already got into politics, you were a member of the ANC, then that is a great challenge for our students. I know most of them, especially those who are in student leadership, would even want to follow your steps. And we want to encourage them to read more about you and see how they become powerful leaders. Thank you very much, everybody. And at this particular point now, I want to announce that we have lunch for our visitors. We will be serving lunch at a tent somewhere. Where you took breakfast, it's the same point that you'll be able to take lunch. For our students, kindly give our visitors time to have their lunch. I will be giving you dinner tonight. All the students, I announce I will be giving you dinner tonight. Visit them and address your issues concerning your loans. Higher Education Loans Board officers are here. So all the students, if you have any issue concerning help, then you'll be sorted today. The other announcement is that today we still have rehearsals for our graduates. So immediately after this function, all the graduates, you get ready for your rehearsal. Get dressed in your academic attire, and also the faculty members will also get dressed so that we can get into our rehearsals. Then tomorrow, if chief guests, you could stay around, we have a very big day for Lukenya University. We have our graduation, the 5th graduation of Lukenya University. All right, thank you very much, everybody. We can all arise and have the national anthem and East African anthem. And then the choir, you need to be assembled here. As we conclude the national anthem, then you should be able to entertain the guests as our visitors walk out. Then the choir, the Lukenya University choir, kindly come on stage. The Lukenya University choir, as we sing the national anthem and the East African anthem. Just come straight away so that we can do it together as you are settled here. The Lukenya University choir, kindly let's appreciate them as they come on stage. They've given us very good numbers. It's only that we never had enough time to enjoy all the presentations, but they will continue entertaining us. Kindly take the stage. Right. Let's all settle for the national anthem followed by the East African anthem.
Over to Parliament. We are expecting also, we will be reaching out to our editor, Edward Kabasa, who is also at Parliament building together with the Bunge team, and also Abdi Aziz are also keeping tabs with what is transpiring there. But I can tell you that the MPs and the senators are already seated. Maybe the last ones are already making their way to the National Assembly, where we expect the head of state is going to be making his State of the Nation address, his first, his inaugural. And you do remember that a couple of years back, when we had already promulgated our constitution in 2010 and started actually using it, President Mwai Kibaki had a scorecard which majorly touched on